Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. Today's workout is going to be focused on your upper body and core muscles. So grab yourself a yoga mat, a bottle of water, and let's get started. I'm just going to get you to roll down your spine, bending those knees, and we're going to walk those hands out to a tall plank. Bend the knees, walk it back in and round back up. We're going to go for 5. So round down for number 2. Walk it out. And walk it back, rounding up through the back. 3 more for me. Round, getting nice and floppy, bending the knees, and up. 2 more. Just making sure the hands land directly under the shoulders and that we're not arching through the lower back. I want you to hold this last one out so those shoulders are directly on top of your wrists. From here, this is a little bit challenging, but you're going to bring your knee in towards your chest and release back out. Other side, bring it in, hold. Just making sure that you're not like sinking through your shoulders, really try and puff and release. Other side, pull in, hold. Release, other side, hold in. Keep breathing, hopefully you can feel the tension through the core. Other side. Hold, 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 and other side, last one. And then we're gonna bend the knees, walk it back up to the start. And we're just gonna do that one more time. So we're gonna roll down, bend those knees, walk it out. No sexy butts, don't arch your back. Tug that pelvis under, pull in the first knee and hold, and then don't cave, puff. Keep pushing that floor away like you're just punching it. Release, other leg. Release, other side, and release. Slow mountain climbers are so much harder than the faster ones. Well, harder in a different way. One more time each side. Push through the shoulders if they started to cave. Other side. And release. And we're just gonna lower down to those knees, and I'm gonna get you to turn around onto your back. Just want you to lift both feet up to 90 degrees. And just make sure that we're keeping that spine nice and flat. I'm gonna do that by engaging my core and just drawing my belly button in. I want you to place both hands on the front of your thighs and we're just gonna resist them. So I'm pressing my hands into my thighs and my thighs into my hands, keeping my shoulders down. And that same tension you just kind of felt on those mountain climbers, we're gonna recreate here. So I'm gonna keep left hand and left leg pressing as I inhale to extend, exhale, pull that leg back in. Let's just stay all on that one side, just gently warming up that core. Inhale, extend, exhale, pull it back in. Now you can make this a little bit easier by doing this with that left leg down on the floor, just to take a bit of pressure off that lower back, because no lower back pain is allowed. I want this to be through that core. All right, you're gonna hold your next one out. So just hold, squeeze that knee nice and straight, really pulling this leg in towards you and keeping those shoulders down away from those ears. And then we're gonna exhale, pull it back in. Let's do the other side. So right hand and right leg pressing. Inhale, extend, exhale, pull the leg back in. Now I'm also just, as I'm like lowering my leg, just making sure that my leg doesn't turn out. I'm trying to keep it turning in so that my leg is like rolling back in and my knee is kind of facing up to the sky. Keeping those shoulders down. Inhale to extend, exhale, pull it back in. That's it. And then we'll hold the next one out. Now remember, if you are getting any weird like poppy sensations, any lower back pain, just make it a little bit easier for yourself and place that leg down on the floor. Just keep squeezing this quad as tight as you can, keeping those shoulders relaxed. But if you're feeling all right, you can feel the core working, we'll just keep right hand and right leg pressing in. And then we're gonna exhale, pull that leg back in from there. All right, we're gonna do that one more time each side. So you're gonna inhale, exhale, pull back in. Inhale, exhale, pull back in. Just keeping those knees in. Nearly there on this side. And don't forget, if you need to, you can do this with that left leg down on the floor. Or the other option would be to do this with a bent knee as well. So tap down if you're kind of somewhere in between the two. Quite ready for that harder variation. And then for that last one, we're just gonna hold, and remembering you can do this with that left knee down on the floor. If you can, up and just pressing into your hand. So don't let it fall away, don't let it turn out, keep it in. Same thing with the bottom leg, don't let it turn out, keep it in. Exhale, bring it back in, and we'll swap sides. Breathe in, and exhale, pull it in. Just keeping that right leg pulling in, which will kind of help you get a bit of that tailbone tuck as well, so that we're not arching. And we're nearly nice and even. We'll do about 4 more. And last one, just holding it out. And then pulling it back in from there. All right, I'm gonna get you to roll around so that we're facing the floor. And we're just gonna warm up those shoulders a little bit more. So I want you to start with those arms nice and straight above head, facing the floor. And then we're just gonna try and like pull your shoulders down and slide them back out. Pull the shoulders down and slide them back out. Just 5 more times. Now I'm trying not to like pull up into a cobra here. Just release. I'm just literally moving my shoulder blades. That's it. And my elbows are staying straight. Now on the last one, we're gonna hold those shoulders down, and then we're just gonna bend those elbows down, maintaining the shoulders down. So don't let them come up towards your ears. Keep pulling them down. Then we're gonna lift the wrists so they're a little bit higher than those elbows, and we're gonna think really heavy through those elbows as we squeeze up and down. To be honest, squeezing back probably is not quite the right cue here. As you lift, I just want you to think about pulling your elbows down into your pockets. So shoulders down and then lower down. Pulling the shoulders down and lower down. So let me just do this from sitting just so you can see. So I don't so much squeeze back. I pull my shoulders down. Pull my shoulders down. And I'm always trying to keep those wrists a little bit higher than my elbows, so I can feel it here a little bit more than kind of just squeezing up here. So we can check on this next one, just holding it up, and I want you to try and pull your shoulders down. Pull your elbows into your pockets, but don't let your elbows raise up. Keep them pulling down. Let's just do 5 more. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. This time you're going to straighten those arms. We're not going to have those palms facing behind. I want you to turn thumbs up so palms are facing forward and shoulders are down. As the more I rotate those thumbs back, the more it should help kind of open and pull those shoulders down. And we're going to aim for the same feeling. Pull the shoulders down as you lift the arms and lower back down. So exhale, squeeze, inhale down. Just 5 more. Exhale, lift, inhale down. Keeping those thumbs back. And then on this last one, we're gonna hold those arms up as high as you can. I'm going to keep your head down as we roll the shoulders forward, roll them back. We're gonna do this 10 times. Roll forward, roll down and back, keeping them up nice and high. Don't forget that height. Last one. And then we can lower those arms back down. For your first exercise, I'll just show you both the harder and the easier variation, and then we'll get into it. So we're going to start with a push-up. First, your harder variation. We're going to lower down, push back, lower down, and push back. To make this slightly easier, we can do this from the knees, and then same thing, we're just going to push down, push back, or push up, I should say, push back. Now before we start, just keep an eye on your hips. So I don't want your back to arch. I don't want you to think sexy butts where your butt's poking out. I really want you to try and tuck that tailbone under when we're in that shape. So none of this. Think like a plank and really draw those hips under. All right, we're gonna do this for a minute. So choose your poison and let's get into it. All right, off you go. Keep it slow. I want you to focus on that quality over quantity. And remember, I'm just keeping that tailbone tucked. I'm not sticking that booty out. And I'm also trying to keep my shoulders down as I come down. So what I don't want to do, I might demonstrate that from my knees, is roll my shoulders up like so. That hurts my neck and that feels so much harder. So you might want to go for the easier variation if you notice your shoulders are sticking up towards your ears. So hips forward, shoulders down as we come down and push back. And again, we're just focusing on the quality. So just move slow. We've got like 5 seconds left. Good job. Let's move on to our second exercise. So for your second exercise, we're going to come into a side plank. Hardest variation is going to be from your hand. Midway is going to be from your elbow. So let's just start from your elbow, and I'm going to get you to come up. Now you can do this one leg straight, one knee bent. Easiest would be both knees bent. Hardest variation would be both legs straight. And all we're going to do is come down, reach overhead. Come down, reach overhead. We're gonna go 45 seconds each side. Same thing, just watch that you're tucking that tailbone under. But let's start, 45 seconds, off you go. So again, I'm gonna come down, reach, down, reach. And notice I'm really trying to crunch up here. So I exhale as I lift, really squeezing that rib and hip bone together. And my elbow is directly under my shoulder. It's not too far forward or too close in. Remember, midway variation, one leg straight as we poke and stretch the side of the body, come back down. Nearly there. And then your easier one was both feet together. Thrust those hips forward. So make sure that you're not arching and sticking the booty out, like shoot those hips forward, especially on that lift up. Exhale, lift. Inhale, down. All right, let's do that other side. So rolling around. Sorry, I got my stopwatch with me today because you've probably seen I am pretty bad sometimes at judging time. All right, let's do it. So again, harder variation. We're gonna come down and reach, down and reach. That midway variation. Just making sure we're exhaling on the way up, really pushing those hips forward and really pushing through that bottom shoulder. Easier one, both knees bent. I'm really tucking that tailbone under. Nearly there already. In your harder variation. Squeeze those hips up. See how I'm really pulling that bottom rib and hip, really drawing that belly button in as I come up. So exhale, tuck tummy in, inhale, come down. All right, that's nice and even. We've got 2 more exercises for this little circuit. Our third exercise, we're gonna get our triceps. So I'm gonna get you to start in a push-up position. From here, I'm gonna lower my elbows down and push back up. Now it's really important that your elbows stay squeezing in. So before we start the timer, elbows squeeze in and down. So they are in line with my shoulders. What I don't want is elbows out here because you will not feel your triceps at all. Pull them in, down and up. Almost pretend there's a yoga block between your elbows, and you could probably actually place one there, and don't let it fall. All right, let's do this for a minute and I'll talk about it more as we go. All right, start on your push-up. Hands are directly under your shoulders. Booties tucked under. We're gonna squeeze the elbows in and down, coming up. Bringing the hips forward, in and down. Don't propel with your legs too much. Try and put the weight down through those triceps, down through those hands. So as I push back, I'm not using my legs too much. Coming forward. That's it. Again, we're just going for a minute. I'm really pushing my palms into the floor. My fingers are spread apart for a good strong base. And forward. If you can feel the back of the arms. If you can't feel it in your tricep, you'll probably find you're winging out. So turn in. So like The insides of your elbows are like facing forward and the pointy parts are facing backwards towards your thighs. 10 more seconds. Again, just keeping it slow, squeezing those elbows in and keeping that booty tucked under. All right, that is a minute. Let's move on to our final exercise of the circuit. The final exercise of this circuit, we're gonna get into a plank. So come join me and let's start the minute. Place your elbows directly under your shoulders, coming up to your toes, and don't stick your booty out. Scoop it under. Now, we're gonna from there, lower to one side, come up, lower to the other side. Now, make sure that you don't stick that butt out. Exhale, draw those abs in. If you need to, you can do this from your knees as well. Just make sure that you keep pushing up through your shoulders, whichever variations. Don't cave, they shouldn't be squeezing back. Puff. We've got 30 seconds left. Rotate and rotate. Toes together. And then try not to look under or like let your head drop. Think sexy triple chin position and draw that head back. 15 more seconds. Make sure you're puffing through the shoulders. And every time you exhale, draw those tummy muscles all the way in towards that spine. Final few seconds. Nice, we made it to a minute. Give those arms a quick little shake out and we'll do our final round of these exercises before moving on. Our final round of push up and push back. Let's go. So in your push up position, tailbone tucked, we're gonna lower, push back, lower, push back. And I'm also embracing that sexy triple chin position here. So it's not dropping, it's not looking under. I'm drawing my head back so my spine is straight. Remember, easier variation from those knees. Inhale down, exhale, up as we push back. Inhale down, exhale up as we push back. You've got 30 more seconds. Now, at the top of the push-up, like push, puff those shoulders, punch that floor away, and we're nearly there. It's gonna envision all those pole goals in the distance, how much easier they're gonna feel from completing all these exercises. 10 more seconds, and remember, quality over quantity. So if you're starting to lose that technique, slow it down. No rush. Congratulations, that is a minute. Let's move on to our side plank, and we're gonna do 45 seconds each side. So choosing your first side, and let's go. Elbow directly under the shoulder. I always start with my knees bent, even if I'm coming up to straight legs, and we're gonna lift. Down and reach. Down and reach. Really pushing through that bottom shoulder. Now exhale. As we lift, inhale, down. Just making sure we're not arched through that lower back. If you are, really try and tuck under and maybe drop it down to medium variation. Exhale, squeeze the rib and hip bone together. Inhale, down. Now, easier variation was both knees bent. Just whichever variation. Also really feel like you're trying to like thrust those hips forward and you'll get a little bit more of those obliques. Last few seconds. All right, let's do the other side. So elbow under that shoulder. Let's go. So we come down and squeeze. Down and squeeze. Nice little stretch at the top. As hard as it is through my shoulder, I do enjoy that little stretch at the top. Inhale down, exhale up. Keeping it going. Find that crunch. Remember, if you need, if you find it hard to hold the tuck, just bend that bottom knee and we can even bend both. Inhale down, exhale up. We're so close. Just a couple seconds. And final one. Congratulations, they are moving on to our final round of our tricep presses. Let's go for it. So starting in your push-up position, making sure that we're not caving, puff, keeping elbows in. We're gonna lower down, and push back up. Just remembering for these ones, we need to be squeezing those elbows in together, making sure they're not winging out to the side. And I'm keeping it nice and slow so I can make sure that I'm feeling the burn in those triceps. So just from this angle, I'm not bringing my elbows out. I'm turning the pointy backs towards the wall behind me, and I'm gonna keep squeezing inwards like there's a yoga block there as I lower down, and then push back up, keeping it nice and slow and controlled, and trying to pop the weight down through my hands. The weight is not in my legs. I mean, by all means, if you need to make it a little bit easier, pop a little bit more through the legs. But I'm trying to really pop it into those triceps. We're nearly there. Keeping those elbows squeezing inwards. And last little press. Let's move on to our final exercise. So coming up into your plank, and we're gonna do those little hip dips. All right, I want shoulders directly on top of your elbows, making sure we're not sticking booty out. Scoop it under to one side. Lower to the other side, and we're gonna keep it slow, because I also want you to make sure that you are not squeezing your shoulder blades back. We're gonna puff up and really try and punch the floor away. I usually find it easier to puff up as I inhale, and then just as I exhale, really drawing my belly button in. Now remember, you can do this one from those knees as well to make it a little bit easier to maintain that scoop. But if you're getting the hang of it, keep challenging yourself as we lower, lift, lower. Really just twisting the hips. I'm keeping my chest quite straight. I'm not turning my whole body. I'm aiming for a twist. 5 seconds left. And that is our first round done. Let's move on to our final circuit for today. Our last circuit is going to begin with some push-ups and a reach. So just showing you both variations first. Starting up in your push-up, we're going to lower down, reach, and then push back up. Easier variation from your knees, down, reach, and pushing back up. All right, let's start that minute timer and we will give it a go. All right, choose your variation. Now just making sure that we're not sticking that booty out. I need you to tuck that tailbone under as we lower down, reach above head, and then push all the way back up. Lower down, reach, and push back up. Now remember, I'm also keeping my shoulders down away from my ears, and I'm also just making sure that my hips aren't too low, they're not too high, they are in line with my shoulders. Remember, we've always got that easier variation. So at the bottom, I just take a moment to pause, I pull my shoulders down, and then push back up. Same thing from here, I just pause for a second, make sure those shoulders are down before returning, and continuing on with the movement. All right, let's keep it going. We've only got 10 seconds left. Big exhale up, inhale down. And last push up. Nice. All right, next one's quite tough, but I'm gonna give you 2 variations. Your hardest variation is gonna be up in our down dog position. I'm gonna face my fingers in towards each other. We're gonna open the elbows, push up, open the elbows, push up. Now I'm constantly shrugging my shoulders up towards my ears. So this one, you don't want to pull them down. I want you to shrug as much as you can. Your easier variation is to start from your knees, place your hands directly under your chest, fingers kind of facing each other as we lower down, press back up. And this one, I'm keeping those shoulders down for that easier variation. All right, let's start that minute timer. So again, harder variation, down dog, turning those fingers in. I'm gonna bend my elbows out, shrugging my shoulders and straighten. I'm still maintaining that shrug, straighten. And these ones are pretty tough, so keep them slow. And again, your easier variation for me is just gonna be coming to those knees, hands under those shoulders. We're gonna lower the elbows, and for this variation, I'm gonna keep those shoulders down. Generally, when we're pushing above head, we do wanna be shrugging those shoulders rather than pulling them down and back. So I'm gonna come back up to down dog. We've only got a little bit left. Again, just keep it slow, and you can do this one like with knees bent as well. They don't have to be completely straight, so they can be like so, just depending on that flexibility. And you could even place your heels on some yoga blocks to make it a little bit easier as well, but last couple seconds. Again, these ones are tough, so good job. All right, we're gonna, third exercise for this circuit, we're gonna lay down on the floor and we're gonna go fingers at your temples. We're gonna squeeze them backwards and then we're just gonna straighten and bend, just maintaining that lift back through those elbows. All right, let's reset that timer and off we go. So I'm at the floor. I'm gonna tuck my tailbone so my abs are on. We're gonna squeeze the elbows backwards, straighten, just maintaining those arms back the entire time. And I've got like a mini lift in my upper back. So I'm not completely on the floor, it's a mini lift as I squeeze. Now as I straighten, I'm pulling my shoulders down and back. So really getting into those back muscles. Definitely one of those ones that can burn a little bit more than it looks, but pull those shoulders down. Try not to have them up here. Yank them down, nearly there. Keep them slow. Keep those tummy muscles tucking in. Pulling those shoulders down. I'm just gonna focus on that quality over quantity. Nearly there. 5 more seconds. And we are done. All right, we're gonna add one more little core exercise into all of this. So you're gonna roll around onto your back. My stopwatch with me, and we're gonna bring those feet up to 90 degrees. We're gonna bring hands above those hips and lift the arms up. And we'll all just start here together. Now, if it's a little bit too much on your neck to kind of hold up in the crunch, you're welcome to keep the head down on the floor. All right, let's join there, and then we will talk about it as we go. And it's on. So bringing those feet up to 90, hands above those hips. And when I crunch, I don't curl my head around. I'm gonna find my ribs pulling down. So I'm crunching from the abs. You shouldn't feel tension through the back of your neck. Maybe a little bit through the front, that's fine. While it gets stronger, just not the back. And from there, we're gonna take those hands up above head. We're gonna reach as much as you can. I'm gonna keep my pinky fingers turning in, and I'm gonna reach and shrug my shoulder as I go overhead, and then lift it back in. And we're gonna alternate sides, just making sure that we don't lose the crunch. Move down just a little bit. So feet are at 90, I'm lifted. Pinkies in, I'm gonna inhale, extend, exhale, pull that hand in. Just making sure I'm really pulling those ribs down. Now, if you're getting any weird back pain, you can do this with knees on the floor, or if you're really struggling with the crunch, you can do this with head on the floor. And we can even make it even simpler by placing both ends on the floor. The main thing is you want to maintain your rib to hip connection, so I'm not arching through the back. So inhale to reach, exhale, pull it in, and just alternating directions. And if you can, for the most advanced version, holding up in that crunch. All right, keep going for me. We'll do like 10 more seconds. There's a lot to talk about in this one. And last one, let's bring it down. All right, we are now on the sprint to the finish. So last round of this second circuit, coming into our push-ups with the reach. Off we go. So just remember, hands directly under shoulders, middle fingers forward and fingers are spread apart. We slowly lower down, focusing on maintaining a hip tuck, shoulders down. And then before we push back up, keeping those shoulders down, making sure our pelvis is tucked, and then going for that push. Now, if you're struggling with those, from the knees, lower down, reach, and come back up. We just keep repositioning at the top and at the bottom. And we're gonna focus on that quality over quantity. We're doing really well, we're so close. $15 more seconds. My triceps are on fire today with these ones. Be interested to know which muscle you guys are feeling as well. So let me know in the comments when you're done. That is a minute All right, let's move on. Second exercise. So this one was quite tough. You're gonna come up either into your down dog or all fours. But let's reset that timer and go. So down dog. Remember, you can have knees bent or straight. Turn those fingers in and shrug. Push that floor away and keep pushing that floor away as you bend and push up. Now you'll notice my head isn't fully touching the floor. I kind of just bend and come back up. So you don't need to go too deep. Bend, push back up, that easier variation. We're not gonna shrug for this variation. We're gonna keep the shoulders down. We're just gonna bend the elbows, push back up. Bend the elbows out, push back up. All right, let's keep it going. Inhale down, exhale up. And don't forget, each time you straighten, make sure you're still shrugging. Whenever we're overhead, we generally want to shrug, pending the exercise, but most of the time we want to shrug. 5 seconds. All right, well done. Those ones are done. Coming back down to the floor for our second last exercise. This is our little squeeze backy ones. So 1 minute, let's do it. Fingers at your temples. I want you to squeeze the elbows back, and we're gonna maintain the squeeze. We're gonna maintain a mini little lift through the upper back. As we straighten, pull those shoulders down. Squeeze in, squeeze back, pull the shoulders down. And I'm just drawing my tummy in and just keeping it really slow. Always find slow burns more. Just gives you a bit of time as well to just focus on each little part of the movement and what's actually going on in the body. Exhale, straighten, pull those shoulders down. Inhale to bring the elbows back in. And really feel that pull. So close. Poor little arms are on fire right now. Last 5 seconds. So sometimes it's always these more simple movements that tend to really burn the most. All right, that one is done. We got one final exercise to go. So onto your back for me. Coming into those abs again. Laying on your back. We're gonna take a big exhale. As we lift one leg, just make sure as you set up, you're also really flat through the back. Lift the other. Start that timer. And then we're gonna go hands just above those hips, and we're not gonna curl in. We're gonna lift up. Like feel those ribs pull down towards those hip bones. Lift those arms up, keeping them in so they're in line with your shoulders, pinky fingers in, not out. And I'm gonna keep them in as I shrug and reach. Keep that wrapping sensation, pull it back in. Other side, shrug and reach. And back in, shrug, reach, and back in. Now remember, if you're really struggling with the crunch, you can do this one from the floor for a slightly easier variation. Or if you're struggling a bit with the lower back, I'd suggest doing this with your feet on the floor. Just while you find that little connection between the rib and the hips. But if you're feeling good, keeping up, keeping it slow, trying to find that feeling of the ribs pulling into those hips. It is quite tough. Where are we at? I think we're doing well. Oh, nearly there. Inhale, extend, exhale, pull in. Let's just do one more each arm. And then gently lowering back down. Congrats on completing another workout. Please let me know in the comments how you found the workout. If you have any questions, if you enjoyed it, or if you'd like to see more content like this one. And as always, please give this video the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so I can keep bringing you more valuable content just like this video.